Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, September 26, 2024. Fire potential impacts for the next couple of days mainly include just a warm and dry weather pattern with some breezy winds over the central Idaho mountains today, and then the winds returning to a little bit of a larger area over Idaho and central Nevada on Saturday. Yesterday was a quiet day for precipitation and lightning, really nothing to speak of in the Great Basin. We did have just an isolated storm up here on the northern half of the central Idaho mountains. Initial attack was light yesterday with 4 new fires for 1.6 acres and 0 large fire growth. ERCs remain somewhat moderated across the north and northern and western Nevada. The ERCs there are beginning to creep back up, but are still below the 50th percentile for most of those stations. The stations are a little bit higher in Utah and southern Nevada. This morning's satellite imagery shows a little trough passing to our north and east. This did bring a little bit of a cool front into Idaho in the overnight hours with slightly cooler temperatures today and slightly higher RHs there. Smoke impacts still remain fairly minimal, with most of the smoke coming into the basin from other geographic areas. However, they are quite light smoke impacts, but we do have a little bit of smoke potentially from some of our fires in the east central Idaho mountains. Okay, for this afternoon, that low quickly moves off to the east, and we'll be seeing generally westerly flow across the area with continued warm and dry conditions area-wide. Gusty winds this afternoon are still being expected over the east central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming today, with gusts up to 25 miles an hour. Minimum relative humidities remained low over Utah and Nevada and are up just a bit over the central Idaho mountains from yesterday behind that little cool front. On Friday, generally warm and dry conditions remain in place with lighter winds. Again, light afternoon winds on Friday with a drying air mass across the north. Minimum relative humidities will drop down into the low 20s across the central Idaho mountains with values in the single digits to low teens across Utah and Nevada. More of the same expected on Saturday, although winds will pick up a little bit more as we see a weak trough moving into the Pacific Northwest. So we'll see some gustier winds over the east central Idaho mountains and portions of western and central Nevada. And minimum relative humidities continue to drop over the central Idaho mountains with values in the mid to upper teens and lower values further south. No precipitation is expected in the next 3 days. On Sunday, a trough moves to the north, or that trough continues to move to the north and east, really staying out of the Great Basin, but we will see winds pick up across the area on Sunday. And then Monday, again, just generally warm and dry, maybe a little bit cooler. Monday behind that little trough, especially across the north that moves off to the east. And then Tuesday, continued dry pattern, westerly flow. Maybe not quite as warm as we head into the first part of next week as we're expecting this weekend. And then Wednesday, another trough moving over the northern Rockies. This should bring an increase in winds once again to the Great Basin, but no precipitation and generally dry conditions continuing. And no precip expected in the next 7 days. So we are broken record with this warm, dry pattern. And as we head into the week of October 3rd through the 9th, warm temperatures and dry conditions are expected to continue. So still looking for that season ender and still not quite seeing it yet. So more of the same as we head into the 1st of October. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.